What's up, TBS crew? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. This time we have Mr. Haunted. 3 true scary encounters with stalkers slash strangers. Well, stalkers and strangers. Uploaded March 8th, 2019. Now down in the description will be a link to Mr. Haunted's channel, a link to this original video so y'all can see it for yourselves without my commentary. Also will be links to all of my social medias. Get at your boy and see the personal life that I don't upload to YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into it. God damn it. I forgot my fucking water bottle downstairs.
During my early 20s, I worked as a cashier for Shaw's in Stoughton, Massachusetts. For those of you who don't know what Shaw's is, it's basically your average grocery store in your hometown to go shopping for food. The only thing different from those other grocery stores is that we had a whole other side of the store that was practically a big pharmacy. So half of the store was the grocery store and the other half was the pharmacy. The pharmacy closed hours before the grocery store section did, and I worked in the grocery store section for about 8 to 9 hours a day.
Walmart and Walgreens.
Being a cashier was easy for the most part, but
put together.
Constantly standing for 8 hours a day was beyond horrible. One day in the month of April, my boss asked if I could work late that night as the person who would originally work after me had called in sick. On the inside, I was pissed off, but I didn't want to show it, so I sucked it up and said yes. It was only an extra 4 hours, so as long as I kept working, I knew time would fly by.
Money.
So fast forward to around 10 p.m., I'm pretty much the only person in the store, and I'm just about ready to end my shift. Normally, people would stop coming in at around the 9 p.m. mark, and maybe a few people would come after that, but the store is practically dead by now. As I'm beginning to close the store, I hear a noise coming from one of the aisles. Keep in mind that the store is completely empty, so I heard it loud and clear.
Empty.
I couldn't really describe the sound, but it sounded like a bag of chips being crushed. I looked to the aisle where I thought I heard the noise, but didn't find anything or see anyone. If something did fall over, it wasn't in this aisle. Suspicion started to grow on me, and I started to feel a little anxious. That's when I saw a really tall person dressed in all black at the very far end of the aisle. However, he wasn't doing anything. He was standing still while motionless, looking at the shelves.
That's even worse.
No customer should have been inside, so me, trying to be polite as I could, said, excuse me, sir, we're closed. He didn't move or even turn his head toward me. It seemed almost as if he didn't acknowledge the fact that I said anything.
He didn't.
Keep in mind that our policy states that if a customer refuses to leave the store when told, we have the right to contact the authorities to come and remove the customer from the store.
It be like that.
I didn't want to have to do that, so I told him again that he needed to leave. He still didn't move.
Call the police.
After that, it didn't seem like I had a choice, so I dialed 911 and explained the situation. They said they sent a cop over in a few minutes and that I should just wait. I did a quick sweep through the store and didn't see the man anywhere, so I figured he must have left.
No.
However, I had to use the restroom before I left, so I walked over to the back of the store and pulled open the door to the women's restroom. The foul smell of marijuana hit me in the face. That's when I heard a deep voice coming from one of the stalls say, "Wanna come with me?"
Nah.
I ran out of the restroom and back to the front of the store where I saw 2 policemen entering the store, and I finally felt as if 1,000 pounds had been lifted off of me. Breathing heavily, I told them that he was in the women's restroom. They took action and brought him out of the restroom within a matter of a minute. However, the man didn't try to get away or anything. He just casually walked out of the store in cuffs with the policemen. After that night, I called my boss and explained my situation, and he said that he would no longer give me work on night shifts. Thank God.
Old dude was probably too damn high to try to run away. He knew it was over. He been got.
This took place about 10 years ago when I was a freshman in college. This is the first time I've ever encountered this story in full detail to anyone. I attended college in a rural mountain area in the Northeast. A small school tucked away in the rolling hills of the mountains. The type of place where the beauty and casual grace of nature is juxtaposed by the ugliness of humanity.
Yeah.
The newspaper was ultra-conservative, and you couldn't go too deep in the woods beyond a few trees without seeing some trace of meth activity. You know the type of place I mean. Anyway, one of my friends from college discovered somehow an abandoned train trestle deep into the woods about 5 miles from campus. A no man's land, basically.
Yeah.
I don't remember how he found this place because it was very much off the beaten path. The trestle crossed above a river which flowed about 40 feet below. It was actually quite beautiful, and we began going there maybe 3 times a week, just chilling on the trestle, watching the water below and the open sky above. We drink 40s there, smoke a bowl there, bring girls there, and then we began jumping off the trestle into the water below, and then climbing back up. It was just a very collegey thing to do, our chill spot basically. So one day, just needing to get away from the dorms and away from it all, I decided to go by myself to the trestle for a swim. It was around 7 p.m., so I still had a good hour or so of dim sunlight, and I brought a flashlight for the walk home when it was sure to be dark. I made the trek through the pathways of the woods as I had done 100 times before, left my towel and flashlight on the trestle and jumped into the water. The water was about 10 to 15 feet deep, I'd say. It flowed almost imperceptibly. You might as well be swimming in a stagnant pool. However, about maybe 50 yards away from the trestle, the river narrows and the current picks up significantly. Then, about 20 yards after that, there's a maybe 20-foot high waterfall that bubbles and splashes with extreme violence.
Ooh.
We used to watch large objects go over and never come back up again.
Why would they?
So there I am, demingly bobbing my head in and out of the water, doing underwater flips, etc. When I pop my head out of the water, I happen to glance to the side of the river and see a man walking towards the water. The water is kind of blocking my view, so I don't see him fluidly walking towards the water. I more see him in different stages of being closer to the water, like flipping through a flip book. He's 15 feet away, 10 feet away, and eventually 5 feet away. I can barely give you a description, maybe 6 feet tall, pale, skinny, black hair, pulled back in a ponytail. What I do remember mostly about his appearance was the extremely empty look on his face and his eyes, like he was doing something mundane, taking out the trash or raking leaves. I'm treading water, not knowing what to think, and I see that he's no longer beside the river. He has dove in, and he's swimming pin straight directly at me very fast.
See?
I try to swim the opposite way, but within a minute I feel him grab my ankle and tug. I tried to scream, but water filled in my mouth.
Ooh.
While I'm underwater, he lets go and goes up for air, then grabs back on and pulls me again. It seems like he's done this before, and I never once see him after he jumped into the water. He's gradually pulling me to where the current picks up before the waterfall. I start to realize this and just start flipping out, kicking, screaming, cursing to no effect. Finally, I feel the current start to take me, and as I twist away towards the waterfall, I look back and see this guy just casually swimming back to where he jumped in the water, not even looking at me. This is by far the scariest moment of my life as I approach the waterfall. Long story short, I go over and I'm underwater for a long time, over a minute. The water above unrelentingly pushing me under. The only reason I survived was because there was a large log that had gone over, and I grabbed it and leveraged it against the bottom to push me away from the crushing water. I survived, obviously, but then had to trek the miles back to my dorm in the dark without my flashlight. Every step of the way, thinking he would come back to finish the job. The next year, a football player drowned going over that waterfall. The news said it was because there was an extreme current due to recent rainfall, but I've always wondered about that.
Right. No, it seems like he was only after females. But you never know. I can't swim. I don't fuck with big bodies of
Before
water.
I begin with my story, I'd like to give a little background information as to why being alone makes me extremely uncomfortable.
It'd be like that.
During my childhood, I came home from school one day while my parents were at work to find a man I'd never seen before sitting on my couch.
What?
Needless to say, I stormed out of my house and ran to my neighbors to call the cops, but the man was already gone by then. Ever since that incident, my family and I moved out of state. Now for the story.
You came home from school and saw a man you've never seen before just chilling on the couch in your house. Really? And you run out and you go to the neighbor's house to call the police. And by the time the police get there, of course, he's gone. How did he get into your house? Bro, you not just gonna like scoot past that. Like, you didn't just say that. Like, that didn't just happen. If I was to come home from school, well, work, and I see some motherfucker I don't know just chilling on my couch, like Ice Cube said, just grin and bear it. I got an ass whooping that your ass don't want to inherit.
It was the middle of July of 2016, and my friend, Haley, was having a birthday party at her house to celebrate her 18th birthday. During that time, I was definitely no popular kid in school, and she was pretty much the only friend I had.
It'd be like that.
My mom dropped me off at the party, and it was a great time. There were around 20 people there, maybe more, drinking, listening to music, doing karaoke, and stuff like that. I wasn't of age to be drinking at the time, so I only had soda.
It'd be like that.
The party went on for hours, and it was around 2 p.m. when people finally started to leave. Pretty soon, after everyone had left, it was just me and Haley. We hung out for a bit, and eventually I decided that it was time to head home. Haley, being the good friend she was, offered me for a ride back. I could tell Haley was somewhat drunk, and I didn't want to chance it. So therefore, I said that I'd be fine and that she should go get some sleep. Looking back, I still regret declining that ride till this day.
I bet.
My house is about 5 miles away, and I thought I could take a walk and enjoy the cool night air. About halfway toward my house, there's a canal with a small bridge and overgrown vegetation and some trees. I don't know what it was, but something about that place made me feel extremely uncomfortable whenever we drove by it. However, it didn't seem like I had a choice, as I had to walk across that bridge in order to get home.
Oh, you had a choice.
There were signs of meth activity beneath the bridge, but that was pretty much it. Anyway, the more I walk towards my neighborhood, I start to see the bridge, and about 5 minutes later, I'm just about there. Before I walk across it, I take a deep breath to compose myself and said in my head that I'd be fine and that I was just paranoid. However, as I'm walking across the bridge, I for some reason look down towards the water when I hear what sounds like crying from underneath the bridge.
Keep going.
It startled me for a bit, but I then came to the realization that someone needed help.
No.
So I hastily took this little path down towards the canal to see a woman crying under the bridge.
That's not my problem.
She looked to be about 30 and was wearing some jeans and a jacket. I asked her if she was okay, and she then looked at me and told me that her husband had beaten her and that she had to get away. I told her if she wanted me to call the cops for her, but she went on repeatedly saying no.
I bet.
Just as I thought the situation couldn't get any weirder, I saw someone peering their head out from behind the bridge and then quickly moving it back. However, the woman must have caught on to my suspicion, and she then gave me this unsettling smile. All of a sudden, at least 10 men came out from behind the bridge and trees with what looked like huge metal bats. At this point, I just got out of there and started running back to my house, hoping that they didn't follow me.
10 men with weapons come out of the woodwork because this woman was a setup. And all you had to do was keep fucking walking. If not, break into a full-on run once you heard her crying and she was under the bridge. It sounds like you're gonna get out of this situation unscathed, but bro, just know, if something would have happened, oh, you would have deserved everything.
After about 5 minutes of me practically running for my life, I made it into my neighborhood and jumped my fence to my backyard. I made it inside safely, and I thank God that nobody followed me home. My parents questioned me as to why I was home so late and why I was out of breath. I didn't want to tell them the real truth, so I told them that I decided to jog. Ever since then, I don't cross that bridge when going places.
You could have just owned up to it and told them what happened, but, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Please don't unsubscribe. Please don't hit the dislike button. I know that was a terrible ass joke. I don't know. There was a lot of bullshittery popping off. No, but I think the worst story was the last one. Because first it started with the weird guy you didn't know who was sitting on your couch when you got home from school. Then it graduated to you being at this party and you declined the ride home from your friend because she was slightly intoxicated. Now, I can understand being responsible and all that. I can understand that. I could get with that. I respect you for that. But at the same time, everything else that was going on in your life, all that creepy shit, yeah, I just would have took the chance and took that ride from her. If you had a driving permit, that means you can drive a car with someone of the age of 18 or above with a valid driver's license. And as long as the insurance and the registration is good with the car, you could have drove back to your house and she could have crashed there. But no, you didn't think that far ahead. No, you were crossing a bridge and you heard a lady crying and you decided to go down there and try to help out and investigate. And fucking 10 men came out of the fucking shadows or whatever, all wielding weapons, ready to put a whooping on your ass. And you jetted out of there, which was good on you. But that whole situation could have been avoided had you kept going, or like I said, broke out into a full-on run once you heard her crying. You said it yourself. You always get a weird feeling when you come in this area. So when something like this happens in an area that makes you suspicious, doesn't common sense tell you to keep fucking moving? The third story just irritated my soul so much. But now that second story, I can't swim to save my life. I know getting into law enforcement and some law enforcement academies, depending on what agency you're going to, swimming is a part of the academy. So I'm going to have to learn at some point. I don't need to be fucking, Michael Phelps with the shit. But, I mean, I need to learn the basic swimming maneuvers and how to save someone who's drowning and things like that, because you never know, that could come up. Even if the city or town or county or whatever doesn't have that many bodies of water, you never know, bruh. And then this motherfucker, in the first story, you did call the police. That I do agree with. I'm glad you did that. But you told this strange guy twice to get out, and he didn't leave. In fact, he disappeared and went into the bathroom, probably waiting for you to close the building down so he can get you and whoever else was there, but mainly you. I would have told you one good time to get out. And if you didn't get out, well, I'm going to have to hop on that phone. What did you guys think of the stories? What did you think about our reaction? Leave all your feedback down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you liked my reaction. If you liked it, leave a like, a comment, and share the video. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel and tap that bell icon so you will be notified every time your boy Steph drop new content, which I do 7 times a week. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.